So could you provide maybe some insights on maybe like the day-to-day activities or operations going on in a thermal spray job shop?
Yeah, so job shop is terminology we use kind of freely, and a lot of people don't know what that means. A job shop is kind of like a machine shop or an environment where people bring work in and they have like a one-off kind of project. So, for example, a company might have a large pump for pumping water or slurry or something, and they have a problem where they spin a bearing and they want to get a shaft repair. They'll go to this job shop that'll take this one-off job and they'll work on fixing that part. So, for example, I'll continue with the pump application. Pumps are usually in a pretty nasty environment, and the actual pump has a shaft in it that spins at some pretty high RPMs. And there's a seal there that protects the bearing from getting, water and residue in there. When that seal wears out, water gets in there, it ruins the bearing locks up, and the whole thing comes to a halt. So they have some major damage. And some of these pumps, my gosh, New York City has a 3-story high pump they use for pumping city water. It's a, $500,000 pump.
Wow.
Down to guys that are using, a trash pump. That those are little pumps that you might put into a sump pump environment where you're trying to pump water out of your basement. Well, there's lots of pumps in between that.
Yeah.
One example would be we had worked with a company that was pumping salt water. Now, salt water is nasty. So this was a salt mine, and they had water. They had to keep the water level down. Our salt water attacks most iron-based materials. So you have to go to some fancier things like titanium and that. I used to be part owner of a job shop, and we had one customer who would bring his pumps in about every 6 months, and they had to be rebuilt because the salt just attacked it. So we'd take this whole pump apart, get down to the shaft, get the bearing off, and then we'd machine that shaft undersize, spray metal on it. We'd spray titanium oversized and machine it back to its original dimension and save that pump. So this pump was worth $40,000. So to repair it, spend a couple $1,000s on it was a really good deal for them. So that's a typical job shop. They have all kinds of different things coming in that they're repairing and doing small jobs like that, one-off kind of jobs. So if anything struck your interest and you're interested in more information, give us a call, 724-229-5791, or drop us a line at info@thermalspraydepot.com.